Welcome to the Crafty Mini, and in this one, this is the last video of the year, because after this I'll be having a little break for Christmas and we'll see you again at the start of 2026. So for this one, obviously Christmas time, I want to do a Christmas themed video, and I managed to find this cracking 3D print, and it's basically a Christmas tree Ent, so it fits the bill perfectly. Really fun little miniature. Just going to do a nice simple paint job on it, get those reds, greens and golds popping so it looks very Christmassy, and yeah, just a pretty cool addition to the to all the models that I've got, and this will be one of those that I think I'll put on display. So to start off with, just a simple grey base coat, dry brushed over black, not necessarily zenithal, just popping it on just so I can see the details a bit clearer. And then we're going to go over now and just cover the entire thing in a green paint. So at this point I'm still playing around with the beard. You'll see later on that does change colour slightly, but it's a case now picking out all the browns on the wood, on the actual parts of the miniature now. So this is the main sort of bit of his torso. His face looks like it's all made out of bark, and then the roots that go into the ground. Pretty simple at this point, just blocking out the colours. If I do go over anything that should be green, then I'll just quickly go back in with my original green there. And these base colours are a little bit brighter than normally because we're going to do a heavy wash on this, just get all those details to pop out, and then we'll go through and pick them all out after that. Right, so at this point you can see that the main colours are blocked out. It's just all the decorations and things that we're going to be working on in the next few steps. Before all that though, as I mentioned, we're going to do a nice wash on everything. I want all the little bits of detail, and there's cool little bits on the sort of leaves for the tree, the way it's stylised, and the bark. And we're just going to pick all those out with a nice deep recess wash, and then we'll go through and highlight those up again later on. Simple normal steps that you see me do a ton of times on videos. And going through now, and this is just, again, it's all about that visual contrast and making things pop a little bit more. So really simple. I'm using my my own custom mix, Agrax Earthshade and Dark Tone mixed together. It does dry a lot glossier than normal, but that's something again we'll dull down with varnishes at the end. But this is just to get all those details picked out and make sure the whole model's got a nice bit of coverage. Right, so for this next bit, I'm actually using one of my pro acryls I've never used before. So it's the metallic medium, and the idea is you mix in the base colour and you get this a colourised metallic paint. So I've mixed it in some red because I want to do like red tinsel and a bit of silver tinsel. So I've just mixed it in with the red. I'm going to go around now and just picking out. Now with the mixing of this, it's pretty straightforward. It did need a couple of coats in a few areas, especially the bigger areas, but again it went down pretty well, and it's the first time I've used it, so I could be doing something slightly wrong, but it's a really nice idea, and I like the fact that you can mix your own colours in a metallic. So I'm thinking like for projects in the future, maybe like some armour that's a bit stylised on, say, a knight, and then doing like a green plate mail or something like that. It's definitely something I'm going to look into and using in future projects, but in this case just taking my time now, going around picking any fine details. This is the same whenever you're painting any miniature and you're picking out all the smaller details. It's just taking your time. If you do go over something, just rinse your brush out. I've still got the original green on the wet palette, and then just covering up where I've made the mistake, or if you're quick enough, you might be able to just wick it off with a clean brush and a bit of water. But otherwise just taking your time and just enjoying the process of actually painting the miniature. And that's something you're actually going to hear me and Welsh talk about in a future podcast as well. That's sort of how you find your sort of zen moment when you're painting, and just enjoying the process and not worrying so much about the actual painting itself. And at this point you can see I'm still working on some of the red, just going over some of those areas. I've done a bit of gold at this point on some of the bits of tinsel, just to break up the green of the actual Christmas tree up, and getting a bit of variation in colour, just so your eye gets drawn to it a bit more, gives a bit more visual interest. And we'll do the same with the baubles. Some of them will be silver, some will be almost like a bronzy colour, light bronze, and then a couple of the little bits. The only thing on this miniature that I've not mentioned so far I've had to change is when I was spraying it initially black, I did drop it, and the nice star on the top broke, along with I think there was a little creature in his hand, I'm pretty sure. Could not find it in the back garden, it completely disappeared. So I sculpted this little spiral because it was a pretty simple shape to do, and that's been glued on top, and that's going to be sort of like the centerpiece at the top of the actual miniature. And throughout the whole process as well, you'll see what I eventually paint it, but I'm constantly thinking as I'm painting, do I do the cane as like a candy cane, because there's no real split on the miniature where you can see like a red ribbon running through, and it does just look like a piece of wood that's been shaped into a cane. So I'm still playing around with that throughout the painting process, but yeah, just variating up the little bits of tinsel so you get a nice colour variation and just making it look visually more interesting and more pleasing. Right, now for this clip I just wanted to take a bit of extra time with this. This is obviously just before I've started the previous step with the tinsel, but I just want to show you how the brushwork works with the highlighting after the wash. So initially I've got my original green mixed in with a touch shaded lighter green, about 3 to 1, and I'm just going around picking out these little strands, and this does depend on the quality and the stylising of the actual miniature. You can see on this it's not like a proper Christmas tree, it's got like the tiers that you'd see, but the actual leaves themselves are heavily stylised and they've got these big bumps in them. So I'm just taking my time and going through and painting each one individually, and this is the sort of thing that you do. And I think a lot of times people get worried about, you know, I'm not painting to the standards that I'm seeing online, or you know, and other people at competitions or whatnot, and all of it is just, it's muscle memory, it's just practice. And you can see I'm just taking my time painting these individual little bits here and there, just picking out those colours, and that's all it is. It's just patience and just keep practicing, and you can't go wrong with this. So it's just something I wanted to focus on a little bit for especially for newbies watching the channel. Just take your time with miniature hobby painting. You're not going to be a master overnight. I'm learning every single day that I do this, and I'm nowhere near the high levels that for the people that I look up to in the actual sort of hobby sphere. And it's just showing that it's all about brush control, and this will come over time. Right, so back to the actual main painting. Now at this point I've got my it's the light plate silver from Pro Acryl and the light bronze on my wet palette. So I know those are the two colours that I want to do for the baubles, because they're going to shine a bit more. They're completely different colour spectrum to the actual red and gold that I've done for the tinsel. My only sort of rule of thumb as I'm going around is that where possible I don't want a couple of my baubles the same colour next to each other if I can help it, and especially from the front, which is like the main way you're going to see the miniature. So I'll concentrate on doing like a silver, then a bronze, then back to a silver, and so on. And as you go around the miniature, yeah, occasionally you might have two similar next to each other, but that's okay. You just want to try and break up the colour as much as possible around the actual tree. Now with the on the tree itself, there are these tiny little stars that are on there, and I had a little bit of pink left from a previous project, and I just used that to pick those out, so you'll probably notice those in the next clip. But for the main part, it's all the tinsel and the silver and the bronze sitting on top of that green background to give it the contrast. Right, so at this point I'm pretty happy with the actual tree part itself, the leaves and all the little decorations. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going around, and I've got the sledge source that you've seen me using quite a few videos leading up to this this past year, and this is the one from Sledgehammer Studios. So it's Army Paints Dark Tone, Reikland Flesh Shade, and a pot of Lahmian Medium, all in a big squeezer bottle. And this, it looks quite heavy and dark when it goes on, and I've mentioned this before, it dries really nice. It gets into all the little nooks and crannies and all the little bits of detail on there. And especially places where like the tinsel, for example, or a bauble meets the green, you want a little bit of variation because it wouldn't be touching right up, and it just helps give that bit of extra contrast and light and dark, and just sits in those little folds and makes everything pop a little bit more. And all I'm going to do is go around and just hit all of the green areas with the decorations on, because I'm happy with those, and this will just sort of seal that all in a unifying wash, which will then matte varnish down later. Okay, so for all the bark areas on the actual miniature, so his face, his arms, part of his legs and whatnot, because this is a very stylised, almost comical sort of right, so for all the bark areas on the actual miniature now, with this, it's not. I'm not going super realistic because of the way the sculpt is and the style of the sculpt. It's a very almost like a comic book character style. So I'm going for an extremely stylised sort of highlighting on this. So what I've done is I've just mixed in some orange into the original brown, and just picking out key areas and all those little bits of roots and tree arms and things, just so again it's all about pushing that contrast and making it pop a little bit more. And it'll marry up nice with, so the red and the orange will always mix nice together, orange with the gold as well, and it's all just sort of it's coming together, and it just makes everything pop and look like it's all part of one piece. They're all nice complementary colours, and again it's just there as a nice visual reference for all these cool little bits of sculpting that the artist has done, these little flaps in the bark, all the little sort of sharp edges and things, anything like that I can pick out with the brush, just popping this mix on. Right, so for his actual beard, this is where I was getting a bit stuck because the green was too stark. I didn't want it to be a white beard because obviously this it's an ent, it is a tree. So what I decided was I went in with the green and I mixed in a bit of the orange that I'd used for the bark, almost using the same sort of concept as the mother colour, which you've seen me do on previous videos, and just get that down as a base coat, and then I'll slowly add a bit more orange and a bit more light green, just start picking out the highlights. And it does sort of marry together, so it's still green, yeah, it still looks like vegetation and things, but it's not the same as the actual leaves on the tree, and it just breaks up that silhouette a bit more. And I found at the end, when you see the final shots after we've done the last few bits, it sort of marries with the red of the hat a little bit, it makes it pop a bit more, and it stands out as a face. Because to be fair, with these features, because they're made of, in this instance, tree bark, some of these features are a bit crooked, and it can be a little bit hard to read as a face from certain angles, but this beard sort of frames the face a bit more and makes it stand out. And all I've done here is, so with the same mix for the beard, just added a little bit of the lighter green in just to brighten it up a touch, and we're just going to pick out the highlights on the moustache and the beard itself. Really simple way of just highlighting up. It's got a lot of these lines moulded into the actual print and the sculpt, so you can get a lot of detail. And I'm just going to concentrate around the moustache and where the sort of where his chin would be under the beard, because that's pushing the hair out a little bit and it would catch a bit more of the light. And it's a really nice way of just making things pop a little bit more. Really simple. After this, it'll be a case of going around and I'll be doing all the varnishing. Now, everything pretty much gets a matte varnish, obviously, apart from all the decorations, because I want them to pop a little bit more. And I've decided just to do a very watered down matte varnish on his actual hat as well, because I wanted the red of that to pop out a little bit more as well. And then get it all, the last few little bits finished using the same techniques, different colours, and then you'll see the final shots in a second. Right, and here he's all finished. The legs and the base, really simple. It's just a case of doing an off-white and then dry brushing a cold white on top, just to give a bit of contrast. And then the actual bottom of the cane and the legs, all I did was get an old makeup brush and just literally dab on bits of white paint, just a few dots, just to make it look like he's been trudging through the snow a little bit. But yeah, overall really happy. It's a nice simple paint job. It pops a bit more. You'll see some close-ups now. And yeah, just a lot of fun. It's one of those, I always say, you know, go and find something a bit different to paint, something that you might not normally already do, and just have fun and enjoy it and try and express yourself a little bit more. You can't make mistakes if you take your time and just keep doing the basics. You can't go wrong. But yeah, that's it really. It's been a fantastic little year for the channel. Had some good fun along the way. Hopefully next year is going to be as much fun. You've got more podcasts to come with me and Welsh. We'll still be recording those, and I'll be getting those edited. But for the actual main sort of content for the channel, that's me done now until after Christmas. Busy with real life work, obviously seeing the family and stuff like that. So we'll see you all next year. Hope you all have a good time. Go and enjoy your hobby, and maybe share some stuff. See what you've got over the Christmas period. Let's see what you've painted. But otherwise, Merry Christmas, everyone, and we'll see you all on the next video. Cheers.